and streaming shows. Brian and I have been watching Fallout since it premiered, but we're doing one episode per week. We are now up to episode 5, so we are in the home stretch. Whenever we do these videos, we always do a little Fallout Shelter discussion. Have you been playing, Brian?
Of course.
Okay.
I'm still deep into my my stat boosting. So my vault hasn't increased from 74 dwellers for a while, but I'm starting to get there. So I have one guy with full stats.
Nice.
He's
That's not easy.
Guarding my vault door.
Dang, that's cool. Yeah. So like his strength, his agility, his perception, they're all at the top.
All 7 special stats are at 10.
Dude, that's dedication.
Yeah.
My approach, I think I might have mentioned this last week, but it's just basically to like specialize them in whatever room they're in. So like all the people in the water treatment plant have like, you know, the highest P level, and all the people in the cafe have like the highest A, you know?
You got to have that high A.
High A, yes. I actually did just get one of the like wallpapers or like the themes from the show.
Yeah. The wallpaper through one. Yeah, I got that too. That's a nice one.
Yeah. I like making stuff in the vault. It's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. I was gonna say something and I lost it. Damn it, it's gone.
Okay, it'll come back, I'm sure. But you know, Fallout Shelter is such a fun game, but the Fallout show can be kind of bleak and disturbing. I guess kind of like the Fallout game. And
like you're kind of stuck with that sunny disposition of everything's hunky dory in the vault, even though you're getting raided by raiders and death claws and feral ghouls and all that.
Yes. And God, do I hate, like, they always seem to send death claws right when I need to like take care of a whole bunch of things in my vault.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, oh, there's death claws, and they just go through like 4 levels of your vault, killing people while trying to kill people.
Yeah. The biggest pain in the neck of doing what I'm doing is when I have a whole bunch of people that have the stat maxed, and I have to switch them around because I have every room filled with 6 people, which is the max.
Right.
So I have to figure out which room they can go to, whatever, and then that takes like a good 10 minutes probably. And death claw always strikes.
Yes, exactly. Right. I hate those bastards. We haven't seen them on the show yet, though.
We have not. I'm hoping we do.
Yes. We got some more Maximus this episode. He wasn't in the last episode. We didn't get the ghoul. It's almost like they have to kind of place out, just like in the game where you can't have more than 6 people in a room, so one person runs out. That's what they're doing with the show. You know,
we only have so many characters in the episode.
Yes. So did you think that Maximus was going to kill Thaddeus after he revealed who he was?
I mean, he tried to.
He did. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I'm not surprised. That's exactly how I expected it to go. And it's an interesting, it really set up that interesting setup here for now that he's met Lucy, is that, you know, he just revealed himself. He thought he had a friend. He thought he made a connection, and he revealed himself to who he really was, and just totally fucking backfired on him. So, you know, he of course is, you know, has trust issues now and doesn't know what to do. So he introduces himself as Knight Titus again, and starting the whole lying cycle over again to set us up for a downfall later on.
Yes, exactly. Lucy's so trusting of him, and I think that she feels safe around him. But the wasteland has made her more jaded. So there's been a couple of times where she's had to put her trust in him, and she kind of hesitates. You know, he asks for her gun at one point when they run into these other survivors on the surface. But like in general, the only thing that he's truly lying to her about is his name, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I still think that, you know, I'm waiting for them to tell us that Maximus sabotaged his friend at the camp to get that thing. I love that angle, the angle of this person who wants to do good but is doing it in a flawed way, but is really genuine about wanting to be a good person. But it's just kind of like you know, beaten down by the world in a way as well, in a different way than Lucy, I would say, and her experiences in the last, you know, I guess a couple weeks. I don't know how much time has passed since she's left the vault.
It is kind of hard to tell how long it's been. I mean, it must be weeks if they're on foot walking across America, right?
I was just gonna say, yeah, they're 100% walking, and there really aren't too many vehicles around. So,
Yeah, I don't think, have we even seen a vehicle? Like, I think we've just seen those like
helicopters.
Troop carrier. Yeah. Those helicopters, right, for the Brotherhood of Steel.
I remember reading some anecdote. I think this was in criticism of The Walking Dead back when it was the height of its popularity. But like all these post-apocalyptic things get everything wrong because like gasoline wouldn't last that long.
Right.
It would eventually break down. It wouldn't be usable anymore.
Right. No, and also like it would probably take like months to get from one part of the country to the other,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they make it seem like it's a couple of days. So they eventually do. I'm kind of jumping around our notes, but this is relevant. They get to this city, and it's in ruins, and it's sort of an awakening for Lucy because she was under the impression that everyone in the vault was going to like rise up and retake the surface, and it turns out that this has actually happened before, where people from the vault have come up and they've like tried to retake the surface, but it always ends up in destruction. So is that something that's like in the games too?
I don't remember. It's possible. I always get my timelines mixed up. I even forget what year this show even takes place in at this point. And I was very confused when Maximus said, he mentioned that, he said, like, I was here during when the bombs dropped, but I thought that, this was like the bombs dropped like a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
Because they even had them in title cards, didn't they? Initially in the beginning of the first episode? Or
yes. So my impression was basically that a group of people, like a whole like community, came up, made a city. People were living there for a while. Maximus was born in that city, and then the city was eventually destroyed, and he was rescued by the Brotherhood of Steel. That's the way I interpreted it.
Okay, that makes sense, I think. But yeah, no, it is kind of like that. It's kind of leaning towards giving you some information of what's going on in the vault. I think they're controlling the information, flow of information there. Maybe it's just to keep morale up. Who knows? But something. I think that is just kind of pointing to the sinister things that are going on in the vault, 31 through 33.
Yes, and it's funny because Maximus, when he's talking to Lucy, he says that he thought that everyone in the vault was dead, right?
Or no, he says that he thought they were like full of monsters or something.
Oh, monsters. Yes. That's right.
Yeah.
So, what do you call it? Like, there's obviously different perspectives on like the vault and different perspectives on the surface, and no one really knows the truth. And that's one of the cool things about a show like this is that like people come together and they learn from each other, and they're like, oh, that's what it's really like. But I do like this like kind of cyclical nature of like society tries to like be reborn and then it gets destroyed too. Like that's a very Jonathan Nolan thing. Like is the idea of like humanity is flawed to the point of its own destruction. That you see that a lot in Westworld, that's for sure.
I also thought of Futurama.
Sure.
Not. Just the pilot episode. I think it was in the pilot episode. If not, it was one of the episodes that referenced the events in the pilot episode, where when Fry is frozen in the cryotube there, like aliens come and the world gets destroyed several times over. They rebuild. That cyclical nature there. So I think that's just that's kind of funny that lately people have are calling out the Simpsons for like predicting the future for various things. I think there was something sports related recently that they the Simpsons predicted. So maybe Futurama predicted the fake Fallout history cycle events.
Yeah, well, it's everywhere in our culture, right? Like I was just watching Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes last night, and I was sitting there thinking like, oh, this reminds me of Fallout. Now, Planet of the Apes is like from way before Fallout came out, but it's like the movie sort of incorporated some of the Fallout stuff. I'm not going to tell you because I don't want to spoil anything.
Well, I haven't seen any of the recent ones. Like I saw the first one where I was like James Franco in it, I think.
He was of the new.
That's the only one I saw out of the newer ones.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it even for some like viewers and stuff. But there's the idea of like, that humans, we had our society and we kind of hit this point of like technological advancement, and then we get destroyed, and then it's like we try to like reclaim it. And
sounds like X-Men too, actually.
Oh, dude, it's everything. It's our nature. And it's funny because like even Star Trek has this, because in Star Trek there's a third world war, and it's almost like Star Trek is actually a post-apocalyptic story. It's just that like they rebuild and create the Federation after that.
Everything's sort of good.
Yeah. It's like the one fucking story where that happens. Otherwise, everything is like we destroyed ourselves, and that's what we deserve because we suck.
Yeah.
So, speaking of sucking, there is something shady going on in the vaults. You already kind of mentioned this already, but there's something with those like 3 vaults, right? There's Vault 32, 31, 32, and 33.
Yeah. So Norm
is the brother. Yeah.
Norm and Chet obviously go over to the vault, and from the last episode, and they see all this horrific stuff there. And they come back, and Norm is doing some more investigation, and he notices that the list of overseers have all been from 31, and we're introduced to the saying, when things are glum, vote 31 or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of really well interlaced with the voting process for the new Vault 33 overseer.
Yeah.
Who happens to be a Leslie Uggams, who is walking around.
Yes, walking again. Yes,
yes. And I thought that was a great way to set that up. So we had that set up with Lucy finding out about people trying to rebuild before, kind of in showing that something's being hidden from them from the vaults, and then we see that intercut with the actual voting process.
Yeah.
And it's so funny too, because there was that one guy with the mustache. He was like, I'm just letting you know, I'm not voting for you. I'm voting for her because she was there, and blah blah blah. And then the guy who was running even votes for her too. It's crazy.
Yes. It's funny because that guy with the mustache, he just keeps turning around and being like, I'm going to vote for her because she's right. He like says it like 3 times. The guy's like, I get the point. And then like later in the episode, he's like, oh, and I voted for her. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So we see like, at least in the like previously on section, they show Vault 32 and how it's all fucked up. And, there's like, bodies and stuff. Well, like kind of mummified bodies and things written on the walls. And then, the new overseer wants to bring the people to that vault so they can like rebuild it. They're going to basically leave some people behind to rebuild Vault 33. And then they're going to bring some people over to Vault 32 and bring that back up. And so when we get over there, Vault 32 is like completely cleaned up. So who the hell cleaned that up?
Who cleaned it up? And then what happened about the water issue? Like they basically said, hey, we only have 2 months of water left. That's not counting all these raiders we're kind of currently imprisoning. And suddenly like, oh, now we're going to rebuild this other place over here, and we have more resources. And like, what happened? And again, like the passage of time is confusing to me. Like it seems to me like this episode for them was maybe a day or two tops, a couple days.
Yeah.
Tops. I could be wrong, but that's the feeling that I got there. And so what could have cleaned that up so quickly? Like what is over in Vault 31 that could have did that so quickly?
Yeah. Really, really great question. Maybe like some kind of AI. Like I know they have robots in this world. Like maybe there's some robots they have,
that was kind of my thought, was like some kind of a automaton colony or something like that over there.
Yeah. And you also brought up those raiders, and I'm like, oh yeah, they haven't addressed that in like maybe an episode or two. Maybe the raiders like made a deal with the new overseer, and it's like you have to clean up this vault that was all messed up. I don't know, maybe not. That might be too far fetched.
I still the point in the amount of time it took to do it, because Norm and Chet were shocked,
Yeah.
And how do you where are they even disposing of the bodies? Like like, it's not like they can just throw them outside.
Right. Those are really good questions. It's so funny because if people have watched the whole show, they're like, I know the answer, but Brian and I do not.
Retooling is the way to go.
Yes,
that's our saying.
I don't know, the vault stuff. I wasn't as excited about the vault stuff as far as like development. I was kind of more excited about like Lucy and the Ghoul and Maximus because of their characters. Like that was exciting me when I was watching the show. The vault stuff I just liked because I'm like, oh, this reminds me of the game. But now the vault stuff is much more intriguing to me. Like I truly want to know about the like what's going on, the mystery. I was gonna. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was thinking about the mystery stuff. I was really thinking about, and I was comparing it to like, how the show is using mystery. It does have a lot of character development too, like that. I was comparing it to like Last of Us, which was almost completely character driven, for the most part. And this here, I really enjoy when there's a mystery in the show and that I can't figure out. It just makes it better for me. When I think about the show, and it makes me want to think about the show after I finish watching it,
Yeah. Well, okay, so I'm glad that you brought up The Last of Us. This is kind of a side tangent, but I was thinking about how this show, the way it works is the three characters that are on the surface, they interact with each other, they get split up, they interact with each other, and like their actions affect each other. And usually there's like some kind of moment of like spectacular violence or craziness. And when it's this kind of show where they're just basically traveling on the surface, it feels both like a really long, drawn out thing because they're just sort of like walking to a place, but then it also seems like very random and quick, like when there's violence and stuff like that. With The Last of Us, it felt more like, and this might be because of the game itself, it felt more like every little mini adventure they had a story unto itself. Like when they went to that one city where like that woman had taken over and there was the brother that was deaf and the other brother, and like when they went to that other city where the guy wanted to marry the girl, like there was sort of like a mini story within each one. And here it just kind of feels like, I don't know, like there's like quick random violence but not necessarily a lot of like story. Does that make sense?
No, I think there's a lot of story. I think this is just a longer because again, this show has that basis of mystery. You want to know what's going on here, but the other show was really about The Last of Us was really just about the character development and the journey they were on, and those characters, meeting and interacting and changing because of their interactions with each other. I think that's the difference here. Yeah. This show feels like a slow release of that information, of that mystery sort of thing, but where Last of Us was, there were these little story arcs with these other characters, but it's because ultimately it was just character development, I think.
Yeah, really good point. I mean, what's the girl's name in it?
Oh, Ellie.
Ellie. So Joel and Ellie, they're pretty much the focus of the entire show. I know there's like a side episode or something here or there, but like Joel and Ellie are pretty much the focus of every single episode. And so I think that's why every episode seems like a complete story unto itself, even though there's this ongoing story. With here you have many more characters that they're focusing on.
Yeah, I guess, okay, maybe a better way for me to say it before, because I don't think I articulated that very well. I feel like Last of Us was more like slice of apocalyptic life, where this is like a little bit more science fiction-y, lore building sort of storytelling.
Yeah. That's actually really well put, the way you said that. I think that's good. I get it. I totally agree. With that being said, with the science fiction apocalyptic, world building, I can barely say it myself. We're up to another vault, right? At the end, like Maximus So Vault 4, what the fuck's up with that?
I didn't see a 4. Was there a 4 somewhere?
I only found that in my research when I was like looking at the summary of the episode. Yeah.
Sounds like they're in another vault here. It was an interesting way of getting into that vault, I'll say, that's for sure.
Yeah. Do you think that like basically this will be a wake-up call for Lucy because the people in this vault will be kind of sinister?
It's hard to say because they left them there. They didn't restrain them. I mean, they could be locked in that room. We don't know. But they kind of like saw to their wounds at the very least there. So it's like, these people are obviously setting a trap for people because they went into a building for medical supplies. There was a door marked medical supplies, and then clearly it locks on yourself, and the next door doesn't have a handle, so you're stuck there.
Right.
So I'm very interested to see what story developments happen here. I mean, it seems like they're just a vault, and they're working on their vegetation in there, and at first glance, it doesn't seem like anything's wrong necessarily. So I'm curious to see what this will add to the story next week.
Yeah, and then we're gonna get even more characters then at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I guarantee. Oh, wait a minute.
What?
I just remembered back to the trailers for the show. I remember that Chris Parnell is in this show.
And who's that again?
Chris Parnell. He was from Saturday Night Live.
Is he in any like movies or
he's Archer? He's an Archer. He's
oh yeah. Okay. I know that dude.
And he's Jerry and Rick and Morty. Yeah.
Right. Okay, gotcha.
He is in the show as a Cyclops, and he seems to be sitting at a desk with a vault uniform on. So he might be the overseer. So do we not see any faces on these people?
Wait, he's a fucking literal Cyclops with an eye.
He is one big eye. I'm wondering. I also know this building is obviously very, very close to where a bomb was dropped at some point. Or if these are all this is a vault of mutated people, maybe. We haven't seen anybody's face there.
Oh my God. Are there fucking Cyclopses in the game?
Oh, it's just, it's people get irritated and they change. So, over the years. So it's possible. Maybe this is a mutated vault.
Okay, cool. Have I ever mentioned how much I love the Hills Have Eyes remake?
Yes.
Okay. That just what you're saying kind of reminds me of that, and this show is evocative of that movie too.
Yeah. I saw both those movies. I saw the original and the remake.
Yeah. As did I. And maybe because I saw the remake first, I like that one better. But they're both pretty good. So, what's up?
I think I saw the original first, probably.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. It's got Dee Wallace, the mom from E.T. and
Michael Berryman.
Yes. Right. Pretty recognizable guy. So that's pretty much it. Unless you had any other points that you wanted to make about this episode.
No, I'm still enjoying the show. I'm wondering when we're going to catch up to Thaddeus and what's going to happen with Maximus and Lucy at that point there. Again, I feel like most people probably like Lucy and the Ghoul the most, but I actually really like Maximus in the sense that it's a different character than I expect from a show like this, Yeah,
hell yeah.
So I really like everybody on the show.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, dude, I'm in complete agreement. Like, if I was going to rank the ones I'm the most interested in, I would put Maximus first, I think Lucy second, and then the Ghoul third.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's probably what I would say as well.
But I do want to know the Ghoul's backstory, and I do think that the next episode goes into it more.
It's got to be, yeah. Oh, the other thing we wanted to mention too is the eye patch lady. She's also from Vault 31. She dodged some questions.
Yes. Yeah, she said something about potatoes. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the potatoes taste better or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, she's shady, and I just like her, and they're taking care of her baby now. It's like totally out, and like that guy, what'd you say his name was? Chet. He's like shaking a rattle. Yeah. He's like the new dad. Fun show to talk about, but you know what's even more fun show? X-Men 97. 2 more episodes left of that show. There are 3 episodes left of this show.
Yeah, we have 6. Yeah, it goes to 8, so 3 more.
3 more. So Brian and I are going to pop out of this. We're going to go record X-Men 97 number 9, our review of Extinction, whatever is Extinction. We're just Tolerance is Extinction.
Yeah, that sounds all right.
We're just 2 very tired middle-aged dads, okay? Yep. Like, what do you expect? Last episode got 1 fucking view on YouTube. So
nice.
Yeah. I might even be the 0. Yeah. I might even be the 1 view. So anyway, we'll keep, we could use maybe 2 views. So make sure you guys like and subscribe, and we'll be back for some more Fallout